The Threll guard moved before anyone else in the room even breathed, and I moved a half-second before he did, because that is the only way I have ever survived anything in my life. My name is Ethan Marsh, and I was standing behind Ambassador Valthara's chair when the mining talks broke apart in less than 3 seconds. One moment the Threll delegate, a heavy-plated man named Doskar Voon, was speaking in a calm voice about ore rights along the Kessa belt. The next moment his voice cracked with anger. His guard rose from his seat like a wall of muscle standing up, and Valthara flinched back so hard her chair nearly tipped. I did not think. I did not plan. I simply stepped in front of her. The Threll guard was fast, faster than anything born on a soft, comfortable world had any right to be. He had trained for gravity heavier than steel, for predators that hunted in packs, for a life where slowness meant death. But I was not born on a soft world either. I caught his arm mid-motion, turned it past the point his body was built to bend, and brought him down onto the meeting table hard enough to crack the surface straight through the middle. The whole room went silent. 12 delegates from 9 different worlds stared at me. Ambassador Valthara stared at me. She looked at my hands, still steady, still calm, and she looked at the guard lying across the broken table, struggling to understand what had just happened to him. That is not possible, Doskar Voon said, his voice flat with shock. He is unarmed. He carries no augments. Our scanners showed nothing unusual about him at all. He's human, Valthara said quietly, still looking at me as if she were seeing me for the first time in 11 months. I only requested a standard bodyguard. An older delegate from a species called the Vren, a calm woman named Helena with silver-feathered skin, leaned forward with slow interest. Ambassador, she said, do you know where Earth ranks on the Concord's list of livable worlds? Valthara shook her head. It does not rank at all, Helena said. It was removed from the list entirely. Too many things on that planet try to end life the moment it arrives. Earth's gravity is within normal range. Its air is breathable. Everything else about it has spent billions of years testing whether living things deserve to stay alive. Only the toughest of them ever do. Valthara turned her whole body toward me now, studying my face, as if searching for a stranger hiding behind a familiar one. You told me your world was fine, she said. Rain, insects, that was all. That was true, I said. I never said it was easy. Doskar Voon sat down slowly, his anger draining out of him like water from a cracked cup. Perhaps, he said, clearing his throat, we should revisit the 14th clause of the agreement. I believe I spoke too quickly. The room shifted after that. Every delegate at the table chose their next words with more care. The way people walk carefully across ice, they suddenly realize might not hold their weight. We left the chamber an hour later, and Valthara did not speak until we reached the private transport that would carry us back to the embassy quarters. When she finally looked at me, her voice was different, softer, filled with a kind of nervous curiosity she had never shown before. What else haven't you told me? She asked. A great deal, I said, but maybe it is time you learned some of it. She nodded slowly, folding her long fingers together. Then tell me. I looked out at the stars sliding past the transport window, and let my mind travel back to where it all began, long before I ever stood behind an ambassador's chair on a station built among the stars. I grew up on the eastern coast, I said, a place called Marrow Hollow. It sounds peaceful, doesn't it? It wasn't. The rivers there rise without warning. The storms come faster than any forecast can predict. And the wildlife, well, nothing on Earth ever agreed to be gentle with us. We built walls, and the walls were tested every season. We built shelters, and sometimes the shelters were not enough. Children there learn to run before they learn to read. We learn where it is safe to stand, only because someone before us learned the hard way, where it was not. Valthara listened without interrupting, her golden eyes fixed on me with quiet attention. When I was 9, I continued, a flood took half our village in a single night. My father carried me on his back through water that reached his chest, and he did not stop moving until we reached higher ground. He told me later that fear is useless unless you turn it into speed. That lesson never left me. "Is that why you moved the way you did today?" she asked, without hesitation. "Partly," I said. "Where I come from, hesitation is the difference between walking home and not walking home at all. You learn to notice danger before your mind even finishes naming it. Your body simply already knows." She was quiet for a moment, watching the stars slide by outside the window. "I always thought bodyguards were chosen for their training," she said, "not for where they were born." "Training matters," I said, "but training only sharpens what a person already carries inside them. Earth does not wait for training to begin. It starts shaping you from the moment you take your first breath." The transport shifted gently as it entered the docking corridor of the embassy tower, lights sliding smoothly across the cabin walls. Velthara did not look away from me. "Tell me about your family," she said. "Do they still live there, on this Marrow Hollow?" "My mother does," I said. "My father passed a few years ago, not from anything sudden, simply from a life that asked too much of his heart for too long. My sister moved off-world before I did. She works on a research station near Titan now, studying ice formations. She always said she wanted distance between herself and every storm that ever chased our family across those hills." "And you?" Velthara asked. "Why did you choose to leave, if home shaped you the way you say it did?" I thought about that question longer than any other she had asked me in 11 months. "I did not leave to escape it," I said. "I left because I wanted to see what a life without constant danger might feel like, and instead, I found myself standing beside diplomats in rooms filled with different kinds of danger, different shapes, different masks, but danger all the same." She almost smiled at that, a small curve at the corner of her mouth that softened the tension still lingering in her shoulders. "Perhaps you never truly left it behind then." "Perhaps not," I agreed. "But I would rather carry that instinct with me than lose it. Today it may have saved your life." Her expression grew serious again. "It did," she said. "I want you to know that I understand that now. I underestimated you for many months, not because I doubted your skill, but because I never imagined a person could be built the way you are built. Where I come from, strength usually comes from visible signs, size, weapons, armor. You have none of those things, yet you moved faster than a trained Threll guard twice your size. Strength does not always look the way people expect it to," I said. "Sometimes it hides quietly, waiting for the one moment it is needed." The transport finally settled into its dock, and the doors opened with a soft hiss, letting in the cool, recycled air of the embassy tower. Velthara rose from her seat, smoothing the fabric of her robe, though her eyes remained fixed on me with a new kind of respect. "Tomorrow," she said, "I would like you to tell me more, about your world, about your family, about the things you never thought worth mentioning before today." "I can do that," I said, "one story at a time." "Why not all at once?" she asked, tilting her head with curiosity. "Because some stories are heavy," I said, "and a person should only carry as much as they can hold without breaking. I would rather give you the truth slowly than overwhelm you with it all in a single breath." She studied me for a long moment, then nodded, accepting the answer without argument. "Very well. One story at a time, then." As she turned to walk toward her private quarters, she paused at the doorway and looked back at me one final time. "Ethan," she said, using my name for the very first time in 11 months of working together, "thank you, not only for today, but for finally allowing me to see you clearly." "You are welcome, Ambassador," I said. She disappeared through the doorway, and I remained standing in the quiet corridor, thinking about how strange it was that it took a moment of danger for someone to finally notice the person who had been standing beside them the entire time. Some worlds shape their people through comfort and safety. Other worlds shape their people through struggle and survival. I came from the second kind, and though I rarely spoke of it, that world lived inside me every single day, waiting quietly until the moment it was needed most. Today, it had been needed, and the room had fallen silent because of it.